What?
Is that not how it goes?
Oh, you guys are gonna get canceled real fast. Do not say that.
Beekeeping.
That's what I thought.
Dude, my buddy Clint has a beekeeping suit, and like him and his dad, and they have like a box hive type thing on their property, and he's tried to get me before, like, here, let's put on the suits and go out there, and like, no, I won't even watch you at a distance. Like, no, there's no. It's like when somebody has a python and they bring it out, and they're like, here, hold my snake. No. Have you ever been to? Like, everybody knows somebody who's done that, right?
A black guy?
No, not the anaconda. But yeah, when people bring out the little ball pythons and they're like, oh, here, I'll leave right away. I'm out of the house.
You don't like snakes?
I hate snakes more than every other animal.
You are a sissy.
I'd rather see an alligator like right behind me than a snake.
I think it's a reptile.
Which is an animal, right?
Reptile, they're all animals.
Fish.
Yeah,
Fish is an animal.
it is.
The only thing that's not animals, like insects, like cockroaches aren't animals.
Yeah, they're invertebrate. Invertebrate, something like that?
Well, they were insects.
Say there's animals that are invertebrate.
Animals.
Okay.
Invertebrate
Yeah.
is part of.
Yeah, fish are
animal.
animals. I would go to bat for
Invertebrate
that.
either means they have a spine or they don't. I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head.
Vertebrate means they have a spine. Invertebrate means they don't.
Okay, but have you guys
That's
heard
what-
the thing about dinosaurs?
So what animals don't
Dinosaurs
have
are
a
not
spine?
real.
Like octopus.
Okay, well,
Octopi, squid.
that's true. What, dinosaurs aren't real? Are you going down this rabbit hole?
Yeah, have you heard that? Dinosaurs are not real.
Oh, I've studied this a lot on YouTube. Please go on.
They're not real.
Okay.
A dinosaur means it's something that doesn't exist. That's what dinosaur means.
Okay.
So technically, a mammoth is a dinosaur.
And a chupacabra is a
It's a
dinosaur.
dinosaur.
Jackalope.
So, but if I said that Tyrannosaurus rexes did exist, you wouldn't argue me on that, right?
It's a T-Rex.
Okay, a T-Rex that did exist.
And it is a dinosaur.
Yes.
They're all dinosaurs. If they don't exist anymore, it is a dinosaur. That's what dinosaur means.
I get your joke now. I'm with you now. Okay. There's a group of people that for real like have a movement going that like dinosaurs are all like an evil eye of science. Have you seen this?
Oh, like they never existed.
Yeah, like it's a hoax. Like the scientific community is like, it's just like going to the moon. We didn't do that, and dinosaurs are not real. And there's people that 100% believe this.
Are they the same people that also say birds aren't real?
Did you guys see this? So I'm switching topics. The guy that went all the way to the South Pole because somebody paid for him to go there because he was a flat earther and he fully believed it, and they sent him there and he stood like at the bottom of the South Pole and watched the sun go around all day long, and ended up like posting a video where he's like, all right, so it does
All right,
turn
guys.
out.
All right.
And his own fans are now attacking him online and calling him a government shill and this and that, and it's hysterical.
You can't
Sorry.
get some
Pigeons
people.
aren't real.
Pigeons are they're
Robots.
carrying. Yeah, I saw that. It was birds aren't real. That was the movement, right?
Birds aren't real was the movement.
But pigeons are definitely not real.
Okay. I've seen pigeons. Like I've almost kicked one before.
Yeah, but have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I
I bet there's
Googled the
pigeon
image.
eggs.
I googled an image of a
Yeah.
baby pigeon.
That's AI.
Yeah, that's like one of those where if I come across that on YouTube where it's like dinosaurs never existed, like I don't care how dumb it looks, I'm gonna give it my full attention, and then I'm gonna watch 8 more videos about it, and like
That
I
is
have to.
exactly the name of this podcast. This one.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs don't exist.
Yeah, so I'll say this: I think those people are morons, but I love to watch it because it like astonishes me.
Okay, and then the moon landing stuff.
Okay.
Really?
I think the moon landing is the one that I think you could make the strongest case for it didn't happen. So that one I won't. If you say you don't think we landed on the moon, I will not give you a hard time for that. I personally think we probably did, but I'm not sure about it.
So my thing is, I think we did,
Mm.
but I like money-wise, I think they faked a lot of the videos.
Oh, I think that none of the videos are real because you can't get film through the radiation belt thing, and like so there's a whole. But I think we really did land there. But I think every image and video you've ever seen of them jumping around or driving the golf cart around and stuff, I think is 100% staged. And they built a soundstage in like Arizona or New Mexico to like test some stuff,
Yeah, and
I'm
it's
sure.
fake. Like there's
Yeah.
so many videos where you're like,
Yeah.
you're not even trying anymore.
But the fact that we never went back after like the early like that's where I'm like like we lost the technology to go to the moon. I don't get how we did that.
Maybe
so.
something told us,
Yeah.
this is your one. Do not come back.
That's what the moon land. And like I said, I do think we did land on the moon, but I think that there's plenty of room to
theories.
think we didn't. But that and the JFK assassination are two where I'm like all day long, like I got theories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they release the information on that
We
one?
can do that. What's that?
Didn't they release the information?
On all of it, most of it was blacked out. Like they're still holding back some of it. I have a theory that I think Russia was involved, and I think we knew that Russia was involved. I think Oswald was involved, but wasn't the only one. And I think we had some concrete evidence that Russia helped fund or train him. But at the time, we were in the middle of the Cold War, like Cuban Missile Crisis.
Let's not release
So,
this.
yeah, if we had released it, here, if the government comes out and says Russia killed our president,
We
you have to go to war
we
with
have to
them.
go to war.
You can't not, or you're a wimp. You're a pussy. Sorry. And it's a nuke. We both have nukes, and there's tension. So I think they decided to sit on that to avoid nuclear holocaust.
Yep.
But I do
It
think
adds up.
Lee Harvey did take a shot. He probably hit him, but I think there was more than one shooter.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one, the whole thing where Jack Ruby then kills Oswald in the parking garage, and like it was all too clean. Like I don't like anything about that. So, what's that?
Too clean?
Yeah, they no loose ends. You don't leave loose ends. So that and the moon landing, I'm game for. Like there's like the dinosaurs never existed or the flat Earth stuff. Like I like to watch it because it's like watching what's that show? It made in Australia called It's Love on the Spectrum. Have you ever watched that show?
No. But
Oh,
were
I saw
you?
some clips of that.
That was the show that you like auditioned for, right?
No,
But they
I
told
wish.
you were way too far on the spectrum
Yeah,
for it.
I was not. I wasn't camera ready. They said.
Other than that, you qualified
Yeah,
with
but
a T.
that's what it's like when I watch flat earther shit. I'm like, oh, the same kind of people.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay, well, have fun, guys.
it's been a pleasure.
Love
We'll
you.
miss you.
Bye. I've never seen you do the peace sign before.
Here's you.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. Anywho,
So, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to that GD podcast. Thanks for tuning in this week. I'm joined with my good friends Kyle, who's texting away, and Andy over here. My name is J Ray. This is like episode 14, and apparently we're talking about conspiracy theories and the ice throws and all that jazz. So, yeah, welcome. Should be a good one today. We have 0 topics lined up, but I think one popped up. And yeah.
3, and we're going on go, which is after 1. 3, 2, 1, go.
You went on one before go.
Yeah, you did. You released early.
I
You released
I
early.
anticipated the go.
You were the one doing it.
I went fast too. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. I think that was better.
Close enough.
I think I sped it up that time. I knew he was going early.
We're back to TX, everybody.
Back to we were at
Yeah.
TX last week.
It's reliable. Justin got called out recently for someone who watches the show was mentioning how me and Kyle pour some whiskey in our glass.
Yeah.
And then Justin pours like a splash on his ice cube.
That was
and
Matt.
Yeah.
Matt called me and he was like, "You don't really put much in there." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't, Matt. You're right."
Yeah. That, and I got to point out, I don't remember which one of you I told this to, but I told one of y'all recently, like, hey, one time, wouldn't it be funny if we both like wore suits and didn't tell the third guy and he showed up and felt weird because, did I tell you that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I'm like, hey, let's both wear suits so Kyle shows up and he doesn't. And today, because I'm the one that had that idea, everybody's wearing festive stuff but me, so.
Yeah.
Mine says waddle service, and it has penguins with bottles, and that makes me laugh.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
The rack,
The rack?
Nordstrom rack.
Nordstrom Rack. Okay.
The clearance section already.
Heck yeah.
$15.
$15.
Yeah, they had a bunch of different ones too. To
Man.
be honest, even some that light up.
This lights up.
I know. Remember how jealous I was when you got that?
Yeah.
And then you went back to get me one for Christmas.
They didn't have any.
And I didn't have any left.
There we go.
Lights up.
It's pretty slick.
Wore this to work today.
I like it.
That was my outfit.
Did you work from home today?
I worked from here.
Okay, so you worked from home and you got dressed up in a suit to do it?
They have to have their camera on all the time.
That's true. Okay, we talked about that, yeah.
So like apprentices, we pay them to be there, and they will 100% just not be there if we don't have them have their cameras on.
So you have to have your cameras on.
Because I'm expecting them to have their cameras on. And honestly, I have found over the past 4 years, when I can see your facial expression,
Probably
it
helps
makes
you.
it makes
Yeah.
teaching and talking to a camera for 8 straight hours way
Yeah,
easier.
8 hours for
So-
sure. For 30 minutes, whatever.
So
Yeah,
you,
get your
you've
point.
been doing this kind of thing with cameras on for the last couple of years, I'm guessing, because of COVID, right?
Yeah, 4 years.
Have you had anything happen like the Jeffrey Toobin at CNN, where he thought he logged out, but he didn't turn his camera off, and then he immediately opened up a corn site and got like the tissue and the. Yeah, he got fired from. I think he's back on CNN now, but he got fired, and that was a common thing. Like people kept forgetting their webcams
yeah.
were on.
You've
and
had to
then-
see something.
So, have you had anything like that happen or not?
Fortunately, we've not had anything crazy. Initially, when we started out, it was no cameras, just be present and like interact with us, have conversation, talk in the chat, right? And then we recognized when we called on a person and they didn't respond, ever. It was like, all right, we got to turn our cameras on. And we had an individual to participate in class in a hot tub.
Okay.
So that was interesting. It was like, yeah, should you have the company iPad like next to the water? Probably not a good suggestion there. So they eventually made their way back to their room. Had an individual with the word like just fuck written across their hat. And it's like, the VP could just pop in this thing and it's not a good look for you. And your name is like right here.
Yeah, it's not a good look for the teacher either, even though they didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's like,
If I allowed it.
yeah.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, no, nothing crazy. I had one individual who stood up and they were wearing like super short shorts. And it was like, bro, can you maybe kudos, congratulations. I'm happy for you. Nice. But please put some longer. The thing is, so we're sitting here and the camera's just pointed probably like nipples up, right? iPads, I don't know if you've noticed or seen, their camera follows. Zooms in and zooms out. It is nuts. The advanced technology in the camera. Yeah. So like if someone stands up and goes, it will follow them. It'll zoom out and then track them through the room. And then once they're out of the shot, it goes back to just like straight on.
Gotcha.
No, I didn't know that.
I have not told any of the apprentices this either. So
real and weird conspiracy theory wise, real quick. Sure. There was that picture of Mark Zuckerberg, the guy that owns Facebook, from 5-6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. But like behind him in the background on his computer, he had a Post-it note over the camera. And like ever since I saw that, I'm like, oh, he would know. Like, so I'm so weird about like all cameras and like even iPads and stuff. Like we're not watching them, like they're closed and face down. Like I don't like an off iPad in the room I'm in, like just looking. I totally think that easily people are looking at us through our cameras.
Oh, someone can.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so my favorite thing about our Alexa Show, which has a camera on, is it does have a physical slider and you see it go over that.
Yeah.
Ours is off all the time because I don't want them watching. But then we do have our phones and then other things can be. So, did you know that AI can use your Wi-Fi to predict where you are in your room with like 99% accuracy?
I believe it.
They use your Wi-Fi signal in your home as like sonar or radar, and it projects. Like they had people just stand in a room quietly standing there.
Yeah.
And it sent it off to the thing.
Oh, I truly believe if the United States government wanted to off me right now and didn't care how it looked, or they did, they could point a laser at me right now without.
Dude, that's some Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff right there. Like, are the Jews controlling the space laser or what?
I said the U.S. government.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Well, why the Jews?
Yeah, that's Marge. I don't know. She's one of my favorite people to pay attention to. And she, when the wildfire happened in Hawaii, and then there was one other fire, she said that it was Jewish space lasers starting the fires.
Sure.
What about the wildfire that happened in like Colorado or one of those Mountain West states?
I think that was
conveniently was on a large deposit of lithium ion.
There's wildfires and like they have a fire season up there. So, I mean, my buddy Clint lives up there, and he every now and then he'll be like, "Yeah, we're getting into fire season," and I'm just like, "What?" And then he'll send me videos from his property where like there's a crap load of smoke right over that mountain or whatever, and I'm like, "Are you evacuating?" He's like, "No, we're good." Like just. They learn to live with it. So shit's on fire up there for like a couple months out of the year. Yeah, so if one eventually hits a lithium deposit, I'm like, it was bound to happen sooner or later.
Yeah.
So that's my thought.
Well, I just thought it was real interesting that there was a huge forest fire on some protected land, and directly underneath it was...
Like I said, eventually there's going to be something underneath it.
Big lithium deposit. Not lithium ion, but lithium. So, anyway.
Yeah. So...
Hi, everybody.
But welcome. But no, on the Kennedy one, I'm sure you guys heard me talking about or JFK. Like, you guys have any thoughts on that? You think Oswald?
RFK.
Yeah, I'm sorry. RFK is in the news a lot right now. But JFK, like, dude, does anybody at this table think that Oswald acted alone and got all those shots off in that short amount of time and hit his target every time?
How many shots were fired?
Was it three shots in 6 seconds with a bolt action at a target moving away from him at an angle?
He
like
was a Marine.
600 yards. He could shoot, but that's pretty impressive.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is not going to be my topic because I believe that it very well could be a conspiracy and that there could have been a lot more involved. I'm not going to put my time into the research on this.
I've watched too many of like the documentaries on it, so I fully.
There was a time where conspiracy things where I'm like, okay, cool, and then I realized like there's no goal. No. There's no end goal to me trying to figure out this problem.
And
I'm never going to know. The only thing I can do is just yell at a wall.
Yeah, but isn't it fun to kind of like hypothesize and think like, man, there is something more?
Maybe that's the problem is the hypothesis doesn't lead to a conclusion. And so I go, that's my job.
So you're left with all these hypotheses out there, and there's no conclusion or finality to
you
all
know
of
me.
them,
I like
and
puzzles. I like games. I like things that where there's a solution and there's a finite ending. And on these, you're like, I swear to you, and then you just end up arguing at a bar with somebody at 2 a.m.
And they always just die off, and like later you'll be like, "Hey, remember when you thought that all birds weren't real?"
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't really think that." It's like, "No, you were
you
100%.
You yelled at me about it.
You didn't talk to me for 3.5 months.
Yeah. You were so mad because the damn birds.
When I cut the pigeon open and guts came out, you were pissed.
Well, you said it a minute ago because it's fun, and I believe that about like I have a whole speech about this, but like there's a line where it stops being fun and like people start getting hurt, and like throughout the past 10 years we've seen a lot of that all of a sudden where like the Pizzagate was a fun thing for a while, but then a guy showed up with an AR-15 at the pizza place and demanded to be taken to the basement to free the kids, and it turns out there was no basement in that pizza place. That's funny, but like also like there's a guy with a gun that's loaded, and like as soon as it crosses the line to people getting hurt, then I'm not down anymore. But if it's just people like, and I'm gonna have a caveat, if they're hurting themselves, I don't care either, because there was that flat earther that like built a rocket to take him up supposedly to where he should have been able to see the horizon, and it just went up and the chute never opened and it just came down and he died, and that's funny, and we should all get to laugh at that. That's how I feel about that.
No, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but if other people, if people not involved in the conspiracy are suddenly at risk of getting hurt, it's not funny anymore. We should watch what we're doing.
So I heard someone once say, can we just drop the conspiracy and just call them theories? Like this is just a theory of something that's plausible.
Makes sense, but if I say conspiracy theory, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you do come off with it as a batshit real quick.
Yeah.
Like when you say I have a conspiracy theory, immediately
like, here comes some crazy-
immediately like, if someone comes up with that exact phrase to me, I'm gonna be like, oh Jesus, all right, I got another hour, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go for it. Let's hear it.
If you say I got a crazy theory, I think that's gonna come off less batshit.
Yeah. That's a good point.
If you say I got a conspiracy theory, I'm immediately probably mentally shutting down. I'm gonna listen, but I'm probably shutting down. Like
What if they approach you and they say, "Hey, I'm not into conspiracy theories, but there's one that I believe, and I think if you listen to me, you might understand what I'm saying." Like, would you be intrigued there because you know this person's not all the way crazy, but there's one crazy thing?
I would have to have 10 years of prior knowledge of the person.
Okay.
To know
Yeah,
that
because anybody can say I'm not
crazy. Yeah, anyone who tells me I'm not crazy, immediately I'm like, okay.
If you have to lead off with the sentence that is I'm
you
not
shouldn't
crazy,
have started that way.
Yep.
you're crazy.
Understood. So
Yeah, if someone just walks up to me at a flea market and is like, I'm not crazy, but I got one. I believe in one conspiracy theory. I'm gonna be like, well, that's the most batshit of all.
it's like a guy on a date. I'm not going to rape you,
Yeah,
just so we're
exactly.
clear.
Yeah, this.
Well, now I suddenly, I'm a little worried.
As he reaches over to put something in
Yeah.
your glass. Oh, this is nothing. It's vitamin E.
So hold on, without really getting into it with Justin ever, I have a feeling that this man's very open to several conspiracy theories. You said this isn't your jam. You mean conspiracy theories? Are there any that you would be, that's one that kind of piques my interest, or are you pretty much not conspiracy theory across the board?
Not really that I can think of. I think there are tons of things that have happened, including terrible things that have happened that we don't know half the truth about.
And they don't excite you to the point where you're like, I want to get to the bottom of this.
I don't have the resources to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I understand.
I have the same resources anyone else does, and watching a sci-fi history documentary is not going to get me there.
So that applies to like things of the past. Like, did we land on the moon? I don't have the resources, and it doesn't affect my life right now, so we're moving on. What if it's the drones right now that everybody's freaking out about? Like, is that that's happening now?
Can you explain the drones everybody's freaking out about?
It's interesting to watch.
I'll say this. The thing people are talking about is it started in New Jersey around December 3rd or 4th or something like that.
Weeks ago, a couple weeks ago.
And people are noticing it now, and there's videos all over the internet of all these drones, and people think it's aliens. Or one New Jersey senator came on and was like, it very well could be an Iranian mothership off the coast. And he's still sticking by that. And he's saying like, well, it could be. And it's like, well, no.
There's a bunch of shit it could be.
Yeah. But
You're not wrong. It could be. It's probably not.
so I'll say this real quick. I have a theory on this, that this one is a lot of false alarm. Like, I'm upset because I think the government knows damn well what it is, but I think for legal reasons, they can't tell us because none of these drones are breaking the law.
Well, and it's not a good answer, right? What's the good answer? Oh, these are private drones. Well, they're not.
What kind of drones are they? Are they like the 4-bladed, little tiny?
They're
like,
bigger than
radio
No,
check
they're
drones?
about the size of a car.
Yeah, they're big
Oh,
drones. Yeah.
that's a big drone.
Now, here's the thing though. The drones have like the red and green flashing lights and like there's not any special technology to them. So there's some people that think like these are the aliens, and if the aliens traveled light years to get here and
They just came galaxies away,
Yeah,
and they're just like, oh, they got cool drones. Let's use those.
And if they're using anything remotely like our current drones, like that's a problem. I don't buy that. So
Well, yeah, look at everything that Lazar talked about.
Yes.
Their stuff is far beyond our comprehension.
So right there, the first thing people are thinking is it's the aliens. I don't buy it for a second. And if anybody's worried that it's the aliens, like let me tell you, you're fine.
They
It's
would
not
already
the
own
aliens.
us. They just traveled light years. They've got shit we can't even conceptualize yet.
Yeah.
The other theory is that it's Iran or China or Russia, and either they're doing psychological warfare on us, just trying to make us panic, or
Testing.
they're about to do something bad.
Or they're looking for something, or they're
Or is it
Here's the deal.
Boston Dynamics
Hold-
with
yeah.
a new freaking... They're in the Northeast.
We're getting to that, okay? We're getting to that.
Okay.
But if it was Iran or China or Russia, like I'll bet money that somebody that knows about this could easily disable the lights on these drones. Like that we can all look up and see the flashing lights. Like wouldn't they, if it was a foreign actor, wouldn't they do that?
wouldn't we just send up an EMP thing in the
Yep.
sky and be like, everything at this level is going down right now?
Everything the Pentagon has said is, hey, these are private drones that are legal, blah, blah, blah. I'll bet they know what it is. I think that when we find out what it is, it's going to turn out to be boring and not exciting at all. Like it's going to be a letdown.
You think they'd be a little bit more? So now I sound a little conspiracy theorist, crazy theorist. You think they'd be a little bit more clear about what it is if that's
yeah. Or
I'm comfortable with the government lying to me, though.
Also
Yeah.
at times
When they're trying
times,
to tell me
you're
the
right.
truth, I'm like, something's fishy here. But when they're straight up lying, I mean, comfortable with that.
it's not even us knowing the truth. You and the guys sitting here, and me and myself. It's not even us knowing the truth. It's the global universe knowing the truths that are happening behind the scenes. That people would panic of the smallest shit
yeah.
if they get thrown completely. Okay, they're Russian. Let's say they're Russian. If they came out and said these are Russian,
Panic.
fucking panic, especially in the Northeast where these things are at.
Can you imagine just being part of the president's job is like, I know this is nothing, but we can't tell the general public what this is because, well, it's just gonna be
Because they
mass
will loot
pandemonium.
every store
Yeah.
in the Northeast.
Like the most, and several people. So let me, before I say what it most likely is, there's one guy that came online and he had a video, and he apparently runs like a drone manufacturing company. For the record, just because you run a drone manufacturing company doesn't mean that you mean anything about like
The drones.
What's
no,
happening?
international security or shit like that at all. But he kind of came online, and because he runs a drone company, people paid extra attention to what he said. And he said that he thinks these drones are flying around sniffing for radioactive material because there's a nuke that was somehow entered the country and it's like a dirty bomb. And every expert that knows about this, like people that work for Homeland Security or whatever, all came out and said, no, if that was the case, like you wouldn't do it from 50, 100 feet up in the air. You have teams on the ground with sniffers. Like that's how we have a system.
We have
of how
we
to
have
do
something
this.
And they prove that nuclear, as it comes down, it dissipates, and it's
Yeah.
like next to nothing. Because there were 4 dudes
Yeah.
in the military. They're like, "Hey, we need you to go stand out there, and we're going to detonate a nuke over your head to prove that it's going to be fine, and you're not going to get like radiation and all that stuff." And then they got a cameraman. They didn't even tell him about it. They just said, "Hey, can you go film this?" And he said, "Sure." He showed up, and they said, "Do you know what we're doing today?" And he goes, "Nah, what's up?" And they're like, "They're detonating a nuke over her head." And he said, "Okay, I got you, fam."
Well, and apparently, real quick, for our government to like tap in legally, I'm sure they can do this without going through legal channels. But if they were to tap in and like hijack the frequency basically and figure out where they're coming to, where they're going, what they're transmitting, if anything, if they're following all the rules and they're not breaking the law, which 99% of them are, they have to get a warrant to be able to do that. And to get a warrant, you have to prove that they've done something wrong or they're going to do something wrong.
Right.
And right now they're following all the rules. So like legally, even if our government knows what it is, they're not supposed to. Like they shouldn't have been able to figure that out without getting a warrant. So at this point, if they come out and say, we know what it is, this is what it is. Well, how do you know that? You shouldn't. you use some CIA shit and found out what it is behind the scenes, you're not allowed to do that.
They
So-
have publicly said that multiple branches of the government are meeting about these drones, though. So it's not nothing.
Okay, I have a theory.
Okay.
Crazy one?
It's just a theory.
Okay.
Yet not a conspiracy theory.
What Epstein stuff is going on right now in the courts that the government wants us to look, the media wants us, hey, look at these drones.
It's not Epstein anymore, but I think, and I have no clue if any of this is.
No, you're right on that. They do this shit. I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
last time there was something major.
JFK files.
Well, was
were
it
released.
the January 6th situation?
Aliens.
And then aliens came up like a week later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
Like-
look over here. No,
That I believe
not
happens
Diddy.
a lot.
So Diddy's in trouble, but then
Yeah,
like,
but who gives a shit?
who's married to Beyonce? Dr. Dre.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Apparently he's got some Diddy type shit going on now.
Oh.
So that's the one.
So is that
Well,
what the
with-
media is
with-
trying to get us to not look at?
with
so.
Diddy. No, I don't think
Yeah.
that. I don't think.
Well, but and here's I've seen people on like Twitter that are saying, "Oh, look, the government's trying to distract us with these drones." Yet the government's the only person out there saying, "Hey, this is nothing to worry about. You don't have." And like the media is riling it up into a thing, and social
not the
media is riling it up. The government's the one person saying, "Everybody, calm down. This is nothing."
I
I'm just
think
saying.
the ultimate evil is media. Media is
Okay.
behind a lot of the stuff.
But it's money is the true. Like, let's take that a step further.
Sure.
Because it's all about ratings. Back, I could go and do a spiel about this. But back before Fox News burst onto the scene, the news was kind of the news.
But they actually told you and had journalism.
But no, Fox News came in and the whole joke about Fox News scaring old people and like scared old people will stick around and watch the commercial break to see what
Sensationalize.
else. And it worked, and their ratings were great. And every other news channel took a look and said, "Oh shit, look what they're doing." And everybody followed suit. And now all the news, like I get so mad because I'm like, oh, on CNN, they just talk about Trump for an hour straight. What about all the other stuff that's going on? But that exists. It's NPR. NPR has shitty, ratings because it's not sexy. It doesn't keep you listening. You check in real quick.
It's not clickbait.
It's not. So when it comes down to it, all these news stations are about money, and the way to keep people watching is to make it something that either scares them or whatever. And the drones work for that right now. So if they can go drones for a full hour and people watch and the ratings are good, they'll keep doing it.
But what's more important than money?
Power,
What's more important than power?
sex.
Bam. So it all goes back to Diddy.
Yep.
It's a rotation of Diddy.
I like it. I like it. Good work.
The Illuminati.
Yep.
It's the triangle of Diddy.
We'll finish this thought after a quick message from
Davies Disc Locker.
Davies Disc Locker.
Hey there, Girl Dads. This is Josh from the Disc Locker, here to give you just the tip of the week for your disc golf game while the guys are taking a break, measuring their SPLs. We're going to talk about grip. Grip is really important when handling your disc, so I tell beginners, make a circle with your index finger and your thumb, and then pivot your hand around the disc to where the disc is resting against this meatier part at the base of your thumb. Now you're ready to curl your fingers around the disc, and now for your backhand throw, you're ready to grip it and rip it. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of the podcast on that GD podcast. Till next time.
I have been watching some grip videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disc golf. But
Oh, not disc golf. Oh, we're still talking about disc
yeah, I
golf.
don't know what grip is.
Can you do the clip of Kyle throwing it like just 90 degrees perpendicular
Yeah.
to the basket?
Scoreboard, Justin. Scoreboard.
Well,
And we're back. Thanks, Davies Disc Locker, for that. Just the tip of the week.
he's a good guy. So he's gonna keep those coming, and I'm very excited about it. So
Pun intended.
yes. So
Keep those coming.
anyhow, so drone wise, we never got to finish this real quick.
You're right.
I think that your general thought about it's a company like Boston Dynamics. Apparently, there's some company in the eastern seaboard area right now that is we know they're testing. It's going to be a deal where it's automated drones that don't need to take a signal, like they're on a flight course. And the whole point of them is to be able to go out and resupply like Navy ships. So it's going to be a fleet of like hundreds of them carrying cargo to where the ship doesn't have to come into port to get basic resupplies. And we know they're
brilliant
testing
use.
that. And so it's like right there. That's Occam's razor. You guys familiar with Occam's razor?
Very.
I apply this to everything in life, and tell me if I get it wrong. But it's
what's Occam's
basically
razor?
it's basically the simplest solution is most often the correct one. The one that requires the least amount of jump leaps, and also though
Nailed it. I think almost word for word.
how I don't know how many of the videos you guys have seen of like look up in the sky. 90% of them are airplanes and shit. Like it's very obvious. It's like one of them where it looks like the thing is spinning is Venus, and like immediately photographers were like, yeah, when you try to zoom in on a planet, the ratio, blah blah blah, and it's the camera doing the spinning, and it's like that they're looking at a planet right there. Like this is so about 20% of the videos are actually drones that oh shit, what is that? That's a big drone flying over. 80% of it is. And a lot of it's hoaxes. Like, oh, that's from a video from 2021 that people are now circulating saying that it's a drone from today. So,
But they are there. I don't
There
think there's
are-
any doubt that there are weird drones
there have
moving
been
around.
police officers that have seen like a fleet of like 50 drones come in off the ocean,
Off the
like
shore.
just, and that, yeah, okay, that's concerning. What is that? What seems most likely is it's that company that's testing flying them out to a ship and dropping stuff off and then flying them back.
That seems like that would be a very safe thing to tell us.
But again, if that company, and also if that's,
But do you want foreign agencies and governments to know that's how we're resupplying our naval
So-
vessels?
But Andy knows it.
no, but here's the thing though. I know that they're doing tests on that.
your face is priceless on this.
Yeah. Hear me out though, but if our government's funding that, if that's a military contract we have going, there's some basic level of clearance on that. Just like you're saying, that we don't want the enemy to start using what we're doing. So the government might be just at a straight, like this is a minimum level security clearance, but for whatever reason we can't tell the public about it.
Government, Andy, Russia.
Yep.
Got it.
I watch a lot of news, like more than Russia, I think. So
Probably not.
I don't know.
They got people looking in.
It's winter in Russia. Like they're under.
They're doing
90 feet
nothing.
of snow.
They're doing nothing. Fox News is probably the best they got going.
yep. So
that and vodka.
okay. Real quick, your favorite conspiracy theory? Because I feel like you got a bunch of them, but like, is there one that like this is your you could go down some rabbit holes on it?
Well, I could, but I was listening to a comedian today, and he said the Great Pyramids in Egypt.
Okay.
I don't. I understand the thought of like who built these. It's aliens. Obviously, it's aliens. But he's like, you know what? There are pyramids all over the world.
Andrew Schultz. I know exactly what you're talking about.
There are pyramids in Mexico. No one's questioning who built those.
I saw that today too.
Said it was.
I saw that today too.
He said
I was
it,
like,
it
you're-
was aliens, illegal aliens. It was Mexicans. Yeah. No, even the pyramids one's one where I would say like I wouldn't even make fun of somebody for the whole theory of they're possibly 7,000 or 8,000 years older than modern science tells you they are, and it has to do with weather erosion. And the last time there was rain in the Sahara was 6,000 years ago.
Sure.
That makes sense to me. Like those could be much older than we think they are. Do either of you guys know what Göbekli Tepe is?
Nope.
No.
Man, on your
Sounds
own
like a
time, look
great
that up.
yogurt.
But there's
That sounds like a good yogurt.
it does. Yeah. It's Greek and it's in Turkey, I think. But it's a city that they found buried. Like it was filled in like a landfill intentionally, but it dates to like 12,000 years ago. And like, it doesn't make any sense on our timeline because as far as we know, like those kind of cities didn't pop up till like 3,000 years ago. But no, this one clearly dates to 12,000 years.
I mean, there are ancient writings of Atlantis. Like, it's not just some sort of theory that
Yeah.
popped up.
Yeah.
Like, there are ancient writings of Atlantis, and it's just a lost city. I believe that there are lost cities out there that we're going to find and go, oh wow, they were doing things that they were doing math,
Yeah.
they were doing science.
And that makes sense though when you look at the coastline changes as the water levels go up and down, and there's a solid chance that Atlantis was on the coast however many thousands of years ago and is now 50 feet out, but you just don't know what's down there. That's my thought.
It's probably farther than 50.
I'm sure there's like
Shit, I tripped.
Yeah.
tons
Atlantis.
tons of cities that we don't know about. And when we discover them, we're like, oh, all right. There could have just been a reset of civilization. It could have been civilization was just as advanced as we are, if not more so. And then there was a reset because, Kim Jong-un pushed a button.
Shit,
and
there
then
could have been native tribes right here in America that there's cities that we don't even know existed.
Yeah.
Which there's a theory about. There's some city of gold that was supposedly here in North America. I don't know the full story, but there is a theory like that.
Come on, Nick Cage.
Yeah. I think
National Treasure
you know what I
3?
think I'm thinking of what is it? National Treasure?
Yeah.
That might be what I'm thinking of. That might be
You were
horseshit.
confusing
Yeah.
your medias now. You're going to start these theories?
That might be horseshit. I've never known Nick Cage to lie to me. I don't know.
He seems truthful.
Yeah. Disney and Nick Cage together, there's no way they're lying.
There's no lie there.
Yeah. So,
Speaking of Disney, we went to Disney.
was it?
Fun. We went to Disney. Just got back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
You asked me about conspiracy theories.
okay. Disney conspiracy. No, he was apparently like a rabid anti-Semite, supposedly.
Who wasn't at that time?
That's true.
That was the time. That was in that era. Like, if you look at an old dude, they probably have racist thoughts and comments that might slip out a time or two. And it's like, yeah, hey, man, that's kind of society's evolved a bit from that. It's probably shouldn't be saying that anymore.
My favorite example of that is the grandpa on Duck Dynasty. What was his name? Was it Phil?
I think it was Phil.
There is
Phil.
a character on Duck Dynasty named Phil.
So he was like the grandpa, and he's in his 70s, and he's also like a Baptist preacher. I'm slightly off, but he's some kind of a.
You're missing the coolest nugget about him. Never watching this show, I know this.
So he was a backup quarterback for Terry Bradshaw.
I think he started over him and lost his job to him eventually.
Yeah.
But he actually started over Terry Bradshaw.
And he didn't want to play in the NFL because he wanted to hunt ducks on Sundays.
That's right.
Makes
So
sense.
I went through a Duck Dynasty period of my life where I was watching that shit constantly.
I never
am
saw it, but I did hear
Yeah.
that.
I am not surprised he's a duck.
Oh yeah, I was all about it. But the grandpa on it, Phil, like I said, preacher, 70-something years old. He caused a stink 10 years ago because he, like in an interview, they came out and they were like, he's trashing the LGBT community and like all the horrible things. And I went and saw what he said, and he goes, when it comes to a man having sex with another man, I just don't see what's so appealing about it. And that was like all he said. And I'm like, this is a 70-plus-year-old Baptist
I wouldn't
dude.
judge
Baptist minister
anybody for saying that exact sentence.
from the South, he's pretty progressive. Like if that's as hard as his
If
stance
that's as
is
hard
on
as
it,
he's going, I was
Yeah,
expecting.
if he's
a-
just like, I don't see the appeal of that, like, cool.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what did y'all think that he was a rainbow guy? Like clearly he's not. Like
Did you see the beard
yeah,
and
I'm-
hear him talk?
I have no problem with those communities at all. I'm kind of an ally, but at the same time, like I wasn't offended. I'm like, yeah, he's an old white guy. Like most old white guys feel that way, and especially Southern Baptist ministers. Like
I wouldn't have felt any way if anyone said that at all. Now you can't say certain ways. Like I don't find the appeal of this type of person. I didn't want to say any type of person because I never wanted that to be clipped for me saying that exact thing.
Sure.
clip that of me, please.
Right. But if you say you don't find an act of some kind appealing, how can anyone find that offensive?
People choose. I think being offended is a choice. You are choosing to allow someone else's opinion affect your day. That's my opinion on it. Like, just I don't know. I try not to get offended by many things. The things I do get offended by are when it comes from a close friend. And even then, it has a conversation, just like, "Hey, do you really feel that way?" And then, like from there, you move on.
I did not offend you. You became offended.
So I just checked.
That's a interesting talk that I've had. Like, there are things you can't say or should not say, or feelings you shouldn't have, but some people do, and they're terrible. But for the most part, people become offended. You did not offend them; they became offended. We've turned the verb over time. You offended me. No, you became offended. Unless you're saying one of those things that you just can't say or shouldn't even have the thoughts in the first place. But otherwise,
Something that is truly offensive,
Right.
Like racism is
Right.
truly offensive.
there, you're
That
phrasing it. You're phrasing it a little bit better, but you get where I'm going. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people are becoming offended now and saying you offended me. No, you chose that stance.
Well, and for years, if you know the shitty thing, and 90% of the time somebody says this, they're being shitty, but they're like, sorry, you got offended. As opposed to saying, I'm sorry I said that, they say, I'm sorry you got. Up until like the past 7 or 8 years, if somebody said that, 90% of the time I was on the side of the offended person. And I'm like, hey, you're being a dick about it. Just say you're sorry. I feel like we've gone through like a pussification over the past 8 to 10 years where like now there truly is a lot of people. There's like, I'm offended. It's like, oh, I'm sorry you're offended. Like I've kind of, not in all cases, but there's times where I'm like, yeah, you know.
Do you know how I get around that?
How?
That wasn't my intention.
I like that. But, I feel like if you want to.
That way I didn't take back what I said, but I did not intend to offend you.
Okay. I didn't intend to offend you. But
didn't-
I would
that
follow
was
that
not
up
my
with,
intention.
but here's what I meant, or I would try to clarify. So real quick,
At that point, they stop listening. They're already
Yeah.
They've
already chosen the path of
They've
being
chosen
offended.
it. Yep.
well, real quick, I looked it up. Phil Robertson also said that being gay is a sin in that same interview, which again, he's a preacher. So I would expect that out of a preacher. That's all I'm saying.
100%.
Yeah.
And cool. I mean, we all sin.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't sin.
sure.
I think this alcohol might be a sin. I'm not. I went through a rabbit hole.
Alcohol itself is not a sin.
To excess is.
Right. Well, anything to excess is.
I've been going down a rabbit hole
Called
recently
gluttony.
of the history of the Bible on YouTube and like all these different videos that are like hour long, the history of the Bible or the story of the Bible told in a way you've never seen it before.
Can I tell you? Okay, one of my favorite theories
Okay.
came from my dad. And he just
Conspiracy or crazy?
theory.
Okay.
He said to me one day, he said, "Hey, do you think aliens exist?" And I was like, I think it's kind of naive to think that we're the only intelligent beings in the vast universe. So, yes. And he goes, all right, cool. Hear me out. What if back in the day, aliens came to visit, and let's say they helped build the
Are we
pyramids.
talking like back in the 80s or like how far back in the day?
like ancient times.
Okay.
2000 BC.
Yeah,
Got it.
2000, 3000 BC. And aliens were truly here to help us try to kickstart our civilization. They built these pyramids that serve a greater purpose. I said, okay, I'm following. I'm tracking what you're saying, smelling what you're stepping in. He said, what if? They're like, all right, time to go. Let's go, Rufus. And it's just the little kid. And the little kid's like, wait, Dad, I left my book over on the thing. He's like, forget about your book. We've got plenty of those copies back home. Just get on the ship. Let's get out of here. These people are idiots. And they get on their ship and they fly off. And someone over there picks up this book. And the book happens to be the Bible and the Quran and the Tanakh. And that's where all of these people read these. And they're just bedtime fables of how to be a good living being to other living beings. It was an interesting theory.
It's an interesting theory. The only part that's the problem with that is that those different religious books were written at like very different times. And like Christianity, like the Christian Bible was written between 60 and 80 years after Christ. So like we have good history of that time. So we know there weren't. And the Muslim Quran wasn't written until like 700 years ago. 1300 years ago, 700 AD. So we have pretty good history at that time. Now, the original, the Jewish Bible, the
Tanakh.
that one it could work for because that was
Right. So
further
it's
back,
just
yeah.
whatever he just said. I said
Just
that's
one
an
of them.
It's
Just
just
one
an
of them, and
interesting
then
theory.
the original. Yeah, because they all trace back to the original. Like
Yeah, they all have the same individuals in each of the stories. They just have a different purpose or different meaning.
and they all
to them.
branch off at a certain point.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what's you guys know. Have you guys heard the term the Abrahamic religions?
Mm-hmm.
I've watched too much about this, but like like the Muslim Bible, the Christian Bible, and the Jewish Bible all have the first the first several chapters are pretty much the exact same, and it's Abraham and Moses and all that. Like that's all in all three, and then at certain points they diverge. It's kind of interesting.
It's when you go to different parts of the countries in the world and you meet other people and you write a different story.
Probably is what it is.
And we all have different. Anyway,
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the more interesting ones. I'm not saying I believe in that, but it was a thought like,
Yeah.
interesting. That would
Are you saying it was like a work of fiction that they left behind? Like it was a kid's
just
storybook?
bedtime stories
Yeah.
to be a good alien kid as you grow up. Like, don't kill other people, don't steal, don't covet, all those kind of things. And it's just like, yeah, this is how you be a decent person. Like,
Yeah.
follow these rules. And I was like, that's interesting, Dad.
I like it. Yeah.
So
Real quick, when people talk about is there life out there, extraterrestrial life, I feel like there's two separate questions. And it's like, do you believe that we're alone in the universe? Like, no, if anybody says they think we are, I think they are not bright. But then other people are like, hey, do you believe in UFOs? And to me, that means like aliens visiting us from light. I've yet to see any evidence that that's the case. I think there's definitely planets that are capable of having life and do have some form of life. A lot, probably millions of them out there. I don't think anybody's figured out how to travel at light speed, and that's what you have to be able to do to get here. So,
I watched an interesting video on light speed today and why it's not possible to go faster than the speed of light.
or to get anywhere near the speed of light,
We can get really close to it.
like with people, or like
No,
not
the
yeah.
Hadron, the
was gonna
Hadron,
say.
whatever collider thing.
Yeah,
But
travel, like a person traveling at the speed of light is not
I've been watching a lot of speed of light travel
okay.
lately on YouTube. They're talking about just if you do travel at the speed of light, one of the things that happens is as the closer you get to the speed of light, yes, we can say it takes 12,000 light years to get from here to there. But as you are reaching that point of the speed of light, that distance actually becomes shorter.
Because
Okay.
you're traveling backwards in time.
Not
as
necessarily
you go
that.
past the speed of light.
If you go past the speed light, maybe. But what they were saying is just like as you are reaching that speed, the distance actually shrinks because you are going faster than things are expanding and things are moving away from you.
Okay.
So the distance, yes, is 12 light years. But if you are going the speed of light, that distance actually shrinks down quite a bit and it becomes a more manageable thing.
And I think that a lot of people that think that UFOs are definitely visiting us, like aliens visiting us, I think they don't. I'm not saying everybody, but I think a lot of them don't have a real comprehension of like how big the universe is and how close the next closest solar system is. Like I believe that the next closest solar system is 4 light years away. So if we could figure out how to travel at the speed of light, that's 4 years to get there. And we have a pretty good idea of what's going on in that solar system. Like our different space telescopes can see that one pretty well. So we're pretty sure there's not life there. Now beyond that, possibly, but
So that's what they were saying though. The 4 light years would then become like 6 months.
But
Okay. But that's if we can travel past the speed of light.
No,
Which
at close to the speed
okay.
of light.
I don't think we're anywhere near that happening, and I don't think
no,
we're
we're
going
not.
us.
Yeah. But to send a message to them, basically.
But I mean, the fact that we've proven that Mars has water, has hydrogen, has nitrogen.
At one point, most likely
has
held
all
life,
of the elements that are needed to sustain
It's
life,
just not the right temperature.
and doesn't have an atmosphere.
That's where I get worried is when they talk
wild.
like Elon Musk is talking about terraforming the planet by like hitting it with nukes. That scares the shit out of me because I'm a big believer in like unintended consequences.
Yeah, that could do something.
We
I
hit
don't
that
know
with
what
a
it is,
nuke and it throws Mars off its orbit, and that then affects our orbit, and now we're not the right temperature. Like I don't like any of that.
And then we get the 3-body problem. And we're
It's- yeah.
Die.
I still want the 2 suns.
It becomes a 3-body problem though. Sounds
Oh yeah, it can't work. I know it can't work, but it just looks really cool.
it does.
What scares me is up until recently, I thought like, okay, Elon wants to nuke Mars, but like, we're not going to let him do that, right? And now I'm at a point where it's like, I think if Elon wants to do it, he gets to do it. Like, I'm
just
pretty
gets
sure.
to do whatever he
I'm
wants
pretty
to.
sure he's running shit at this point. So like, I don't think there's anybody at this point that could stop Elon from nuking Mars. And I know he can't get a nuke there yet. But like,
there's one strategy that's going to work to chill Elon.
Okay.
And I don't want to get too political.
okay,
What is it?
Tease Trump.
that's happening right now. All
Yeah.
the pictures of like Elon holding the strings to Trump.
Well,
like that.
Bernie went off on a thing today.
That's what's going to happen is real soon, Trump's going to realize people are making fun of him and saying that he's just taking Elon's orders.
calling him President
And there's going to
Musk.
be with Trump, there's always a bad breakup. Like, and no matter how loyal you are to him, there's a point where he's going to turn on you and it's going to get ugly.
Look, I mean, look at his first cabinet. 99% of them are gone.
Well, but it goes in the order because as soon as they start to outshine him or get more coverage or people are talking about, like that's Steve Bannon was the first because everybody was like, oh, Bannon's the one really calling the shots. Boom. That's all. So as soon as Trump starts hearing
There's
that people
one
are
strategy
saying,
to get Musk to
Yeah.
chill out.
That's
'Cause
like Sean Spicer, the White House, the press secretary. Saturday Night Live started having Melissa McCarthy do him, and apparently, in a lot of books, they said the fact that it was a woman playing him like really bothered Trump and made him like never look at Sean Spicer the same again, and he ended up firing him just because of that.
I mean, if one thing we can agree on with Trump is he has an ego.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to let you talk about my president
no
like
matter
that.
what, he's not your president yet. No matter what, that's one thing that's been bugging me. One, he's making new departments, which takes a lot of approval.
They don't have any teeth. Like the Doge has no like.
It takes a ton of approvals.
But every like so Obama did
Dogecoin?
it. So no, so the Doge Department of Government Efficiency is what Elon and Vivek are running, which is
It's not a department, and they're
So
not elected officials.
they're advisors to the president, but they say it's the department. It doesn't have any teeth whatsoever, but they can tell Trump what to cut and what not to cut. I don't think it's going to make it even to them getting in office before him and Elon have a little split, and that seems evident at the moment. But like I'll say, it's not just Trump that does this because like the whole czar position, like Trump used czars, economy czar, border czar. Obama did it. And like those, it's basically advisor to the president because a czar has zero ability to do anything. They can just tell the president, here's my recommendation. So that's basically what Elon and Vivek are right now. But you're right. I think it looks like a coordinated strategy by the left to try to make Trump feel like, oh, Elon's taking the spotlight and people are saying that I'm not the one making the decisions. And that's the quickest way to cause a divorce.
To me, there's a lot of trouble just holistically. This isn't a shot on Elon necessarily, of just appointing a billionaire to a position of power without being voted in. So I kind of support like, hey, chill.
Yeah.
You're not running things because you weren't voted in.
The best part of that is every day Vivek tweets at some point like, we have a system of unelected bureaucrats, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you and Elon are the unelected bureaucrats. Like, how come nobody's pointed this out to him? I'm sure they have. But like every time he tweets that, I'm like, dude.
Don't you have a Twitter?
Yeah, I love my Twitter.
Why don't you go on and comment that?
I don't talk to any. I'm there to observe.
It is yelling into. You want to talk about the conspiracy theory person talking to a wall? It is yelling into a void.
Yeah. One time I tweeted to Richard Sherman, who played for the Seahawks, and he responded, and I got like so happy, and I screenshot it and sent it to my brother, who a family member who also played for the Seahawks, and he was like, "Dude, my brother-in-law said you tweeted at him," and then I got to talk to Richard Sherman because it was kind of fun.
Oh, I had a.
What was that about?
I had a celebrity
remember.
interaction, but I have to find it.
So, okay.
That's my only good Twitter interaction. The only person I ever reached out to.
Another theory I have.
Okay, let's hear it.
We came from Mars.
We came from somewhere else, and
No, specifically
okay.
Mars.
You think like people like made some ships and purposely like kind of
I feel like human beings destroyed Mars, and they're like, "Hey, look at that one. Let's go there." And someone similar to Elon was like, "Yeah, that's the plan. We're gonna get there." And we came here, crash landed, lost all of our technology because we did our calculations in metric instead of feet or whatever it was, and had to restart civilization. And now here we are, going like, "Hey, look at that one. I bet we can make that good because we're destroying this one."
I don't disagree with your theory there. My theory is a little bit different, and this seems like this could almost be proven at some point, but like microscopic organisms, I don't know the word for it, but basically hitched a ride on a comet that crashed into Earth. And because apparently the moon was part of Earth at one point. At one point, billions of years ago, Earth got hit by a comet, and the part that broke off is now our moon. That's what scientists think happened. I don't think they can prove that, but that's what they think.
Sure.
And on that comet very well could have been some kind of organisms that were capable of surviving that landed and then eventually evolved single cell into blah, blah, blah. And
So they were capable of surviving true zero,
yes,
no oxygen,
we know that there are certain life forms that travel on comets and stuff.
and then came into this atmosphere,
Yes.
oxygen rich,
Yes.
survived incredible heat coming into the atmosphere.
In the ocean. They all started in the ocean is what this theory
Yeah, but
is.
it came in through the atmosphere.
Yeah. But back then,
Which
we,
gets really hot
back then we didn't have an ozone layer and an atmosphere. We were kind of like all these other planets.
with nothing.
That's the theory. I'm just telling you the theories I've seen. And
Then
that
how
comet,
is there water and
that
plant
comet
life?
hitting it apparently terraformed it.
Terraformed? Okay.
That's the theory. There's smart people that believe that, and I think there could be some truth to that.
I could see that. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
Entirely possible.
I think we're losing Kyle with the conspiracy theory-ness. Hey, Kyle, you said something about a present earlier.
Yep.
So anyway, I went to Disney World.
Okay.
Completely different topic now, off of conspiracy theories or just theories in general. Went to Disney World first time with the family. That was exciting. And I realized one of my new absolute biggest pet peeves. I fucking hate people who do not pay attention when they're in line.
Like as far as you should move forward now?
Yes, like, hey, the human in front of you has moved forward 15 feet. You are holding up 700 other people because you're looking at your phone.
Yeah.
I have never been that like irate with a human that I didn't know for no apparent reason. And like there was this, I don't know, some girl on her phone like this the whole time, and the people moved 20 feet ahead. So I just walked past her.
Mm-hmm.
I got the look and the "what are you doing?" from my wife. Rightfully so. That was rude. I could have just like, "Hey, we're moving up." But I was being very passive aggressive about it, and like I got probably 5 feet past that person, and then they realized, "Oh, look, we can get up ahead." And that happened in every freaking line at Disney World, and it pissed me off to no end.
When you go to places like Disney World and there's like a lot of people, that's when you truly see that like, oh, like about 50% of the people walking around are kind of morons.
Kind of morons. And I also realized, and I text him this, I was on day 3, I was doing a secret count of just random things, people watching. I really enjoy people watching, and there's millions of people there. Not millions, but a ton of freaking people. The number of women who don't care that their camel toe is like, you leave nothing to the imagination, is impressive to me. I half a day, I started counting, and I got through half the day, and in just one park, 14.
Were any of them good? Like, was it like a super hot girl with a camel toe
Is that
was
both toes or just
It was both, full on everything.
But is that 7 pairs?
moose knuckle?
It was 14 pairs.
Individual pairs. Okay.
14 pairs, so 28 sets of lips.
I found my famous Twitter interaction.
Real quick, were any of them good?
Attached to attractive women?
Yeah.
I was still just appalled that I could see
Probably
that,
not.
so I didn't look
Okay.
up.
Probably not for the most part.
Probably.
There's
Not at Disney.
so
I mean, there were not hideous people at Disney.
you found your famous Twitter interaction?
Yes. So Liz Loza, do you know who that is?
I don't.
You will not know who that is, I don't think. But
Liz Loza.
well, she works for ESPN. She's a fantasy analyst on ESPN.
Okay. Probably
Andrews?
if I saw her.
100,000, huh?
Aaron Andrews?
No,
I know her.
she's gorgeous though. She posted. Someone said, "Give me your hottest take." I don't know who that person was, and she said, "Thanksgiving is a miserable holiday with the worst food." And I said, "Yes, thank you. The only saving grace is allowable day drinking and football. It's a Sunday that I can't hear the games quite as well as usual." And she said, "Do you want to run away together? Our spouses can cook, and we can get a bounce house for the kids."
Heck yeah.
And I said, I will let you know once I get out of the bounce house.
Did you tell your wife about that instantly?
Yeah, as it was happening, I'm like, this is awesome.
Braggadocious,
You know, she's
yeah.
like an ESPN analyst with 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
Not Richard Sherman, but
Now, had she like,
and she offered a runaway.
had she like,
You can say, I know a guy with a bounce house.
Yeah, I do now. 5 years later,
Yep.
I found the guy.
Found the guy with a bounce house. Free.
That would be the creepiest or the funniest thing she's read in forever.
She's like, what the heck?
But
like it? Yeah, good work. Sorry, Disney. Was there anything else on Disney? Have you heard the conspiracy theories about the tunnels under Disney?
I've not heard those conspiracy theories.
Okay.
I will say, our rule for the family was if you're tall enough to ride the ride, you're riding it. If
Okay.
you don't like it, cool, you can say, hey, I wasn't much a fan of that, and you don't have to ride it again. But you might find out you love it. And so we got to Epcot the first day. It was like a half day, and then we went back for a full day at Epcot the second day. Epcot's super cool.
Epcot's my favorite because I like doing the countries around the world and all that. But
Yeah.
it's for a kid. I learned when we went 2 years ago, Lennon did not enjoy Epcot, and I was like, "This is my favorite park." And like she wanted to ride. It's like she liked Hollywood Studios. So anyhow, sorry.
So
continue.
yeah, we joined the virtual queue. Fortunately, we had this lady from Scotland explain to us how the virtual queue works.
Was the Guardians of the Galaxy was at Epcot, right?
It is at Epcot.
Okay,
yeah.
make sure.
And so that we were at Epcot, we got in the virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy, which that's the only way. You Lightning Lane at $338 a person, or you push a button at 1 o'clock or 7 o'clock and you get in line. That way, and you just show up when they call your number. So we got in line for the virtual queue, and Letty was tall enough. She's 5, and we get on. I have no idea what to expect. I didn't do any preview of any of the rides before I went. It was just like, oh, this is going to be whatever. Let's get there. By far, probably my new number one roller coaster. It was a phenomenal experience.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, the thing spun around and went through different things. And as we're going, in my head, I was like, this is my 5-year-old's very first big person roller coaster. She has got to be freaking out. Admittedly, she didn't cry.
Okay.
Had like a terrified face for most of it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The music was awesome. They had some planets in the middle. They did a great job with that one. And they captured a picture because they take pictures of it. And the picture is amazing because you can see me, you can see Letty going like, ugh. And then you can see my middle child, Amelia, and my wife right there. And the only thing you see is their hair.
their hair
In
across
front
the
of their
face.
face. And so I sent the picture to my wife. She sent it to our group chat. And she's like, I'm behind the hair. It was hilarious.
I love it.
But yeah, it was Letty's first big roller coaster. She did not like it too much, but she didn't cry.
I mean, that's a lot. That's what did I say? That's like in the old school ride at Disneyland. It's all inside, right? And
Yeah.
they use wind and turns and
Yeah.
and lights to make it look like you're going a million miles an hour when you're probably going 30.
Yeah.
But it's like
It was
super
intense.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super intense, but it's like a really cool way to make a ride intense without being
They did a good job.
G-force.
Yeah, they did a good
insanity.
job.
Yeah.
Real quick, Lennon's first roller coaster.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what Letty looked like.
Did not handle it well.
It's a terrifying
so-
experience. It is.
Yeah.
It's a terrifying experience.
Well, and it's dark too. For
That
a
one,
lot
that
of
one,
it.
yeah. That was Carter's first. So the same exact ride, just opposite sides, and I cannot remember the name of it now. But
Yeah.
it's a famous ride, and I can't think of it. But it was Carter's first one too. About that age, maybe. Well, it was it was right before the world shut down, so it was 5 years ago. So she was 5, 4, something like that. So same idea.
So I hadn't been to Disney World since I was like sixth grade probably. So I was excited to go back, but I have a bad back, and roller coasters have screwed me up in the past, just if they're too shaky. So I was like, I don't want to risk it. So we didn't buy like ride tickets for me. We got me like entrance into the park, but then they did like you're talking about, got in the queue and all that. And the whole deal was like, I'll walk with you guys to the next ride. And when you hop in line, I'm going to go wander around. And in my mind, I was like, I'm going to go sit down inside somewhere with air conditioning and like get a drink and maybe an appetizer. And like, I'll have like an hour while they're in line. I don't know why I thought that Disney World had that kind of stuff. They really didn't. Like the food was like, walk up to a window, order the food, and go sit at that picnic table over there.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of alcohol. Like I thought alcohol was going to be flowing there. And it was
That's
very
not
limited.
alcohol.
Yeah.
That's the only one. Yeah. So
They have alcoholic drinks at other parks
Star
except
Wars.
for.
That was the only place in Disneyland is the Star Wars.
Gotcha.
Well, at Disney World, the only place you cannot get alcohol is Magic Kingdom,
Right.
which makes sense.
My favorite
That's the
day
kid
of all of Disney was the day we went to Hollywood Studios. We had like reservations to do Star Wars early. And we ended up buying 2 of the droids, which was a huge $100 and something a piece. And I don't think we've ever used them. They're like sitting on a shelf somewhere. But we bought those early and we were gonna have to lug them around all day. And I was like, hey, tell you what, we were staying on property. So I was like, I'll go back and put these in our hotel room and I'll just meet up with you guys later. I went back to the hotel and passed out and then like woke up and watched TV and just kind of lounged all day while they went. My favorite day at Disney by far. Like I called them and I was like, hey, like I'm about to meet you guys back out there. And they're like, no, we're headed back at this point. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll just see you here. And it was a whole day at Disney that I spent in my hotel by myself. But I'd been on we drove to Disney, stayed at my sister's for 2 days, then we stayed there 2 days, then went to Orlando to Disney. And this was like day 3 there. So I'd been around my family for like 5 or 6 straight days, like trapped in small spaces. I was so like pumped to just sit in the hotel and do nothing.
So instead, you made Steph be with her in-laws.
Yes,
in that scenario, and then deal with all the.
But
Disney.
she's one of those women that like Disney, like she flips about Disney. So like she was like a child. She was skipping and running, and yeah, they both had fun. It wasn't a chore for her to be at Disney at all. Like she was loving it more than my kid.
We had a good time. It was.
It looked like you guys had a good time.
Yeah, we did. We didn't spend an awful lot of money because when I got there, I just like DoorDashed groceries to the hotel. So we made sandwiches for lunches and stuff. And then at Epcot, we just got like an appetizer or like one of the things for like $6.50 and shared it all at each of the places. And we were sufficiently full and we only like went out to eat twice. And
we stayed at there's like a wilderness resort area once. We stayed in a little cabin and it was pretty cool. You had like a golf cart. You could drive the golf cart to the tram and all that. But we took a cooler of food because there was like a refrigerator and a little mini kitchen. And we did the thing where we were like, we're not going to pay for food. We're going to eat it. All that shit went bad in our cooler. Like we ended up eating out like almost every meal and didn't eat any of the shit we brought. So
we ate breakfast at the hotel room and we packed sandwiches and snacks and
not us. So
I didn't want to have to get a second mortgage.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah, definitely could do that there.
Yeah.
100%.
So
had a mediocre prime rib the last night.
Ever since you sent me the picture of prime rib like months ago when you were in Wisconsin, like I've been craving, like I'll spend some money. I want to go to like a solid place. What's that?
I didn't send you a prime rib pic. It's a thick one.
Yeah.
2.5 pounds.
I want to go somewhere where we can get a monster piece of prime rib.
I send you a picture of steak at least twice a week. And
This is a new development for you. Not.
I didn't mean to cause like a rift.
You know what though?
Yeah.
Walmart is selling boneless ribeye.
So I've never done my own prime rib. I kind of want to, but I've never done it.
$60.
Yeah. Well, maybe that'll be my Christmas dinner.
Maybe that's a reason why you don't go for New Year's Eve.
I'll work on it. Like I said, I'm just gonna go where I'm told to go. Honestly, I'd like to like have some fun and do some drinking on New Year's, but I hate the thought of driving.
Yeah,
so
we'll come to you.
So either way, I'm happy because I'm going to be at my house with people over, or I'm going to go to Texas and stay in my stepdad's barn, which is like a party barn, and there I will be also drinking and not have to drive. As long as I don't have to drive, like that
makes sense.
Yeah, I'll be sleeping at your house.
All right, which you guys know who Ron White is, right?
Yeah.
Every New Year's Eve, he does a show at River Spirit, and there's like a party pass. It's like $150 a person, but it's tickets to the show, tickets to some VIP area afterward, which I'm sure everybody goes to, and then a hotel room. And I think that would be a blast to like do River Spirit, see him, have some drinks, stay in the hotel. One year we should all do that with our wives.
I've seen him live twice, actually.
So I've never seen him live. I've seen a bunch, but never seen Ron White. So
you can't really do that with the kids.
Well, but sooner.
But now that they're getting older,
say pretty soon we could leave like the olders in charge for the night. Not quite yet, but we're getting there.
Probably they might kill them.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Tom Segura is still in February at I think at Osage. We need to make that happen. So
that's Kyle's birthday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of birthday, I'm going to transition birthday to presents. What were you saying about presents earlier?
Oh, I was asking, has anyone ever got a really cool present from like a boss or someone at work that wasn't expected?
No.
Not a good one. I've gotten them from bosses, but it was like, here's a notepad so you can use this when we do store walks. Like,
I mean, I got 12 pounds of sausage and cheese delivered to the previous owner of this place, but I didn't want it to go bad, so now I have that.
Okay. Kyle, what'd you get, buddy?
So I walked in to work today after being off the 3 previous days. Nice little demure pours, so I sip slowly.
Let me see that.
Nice and slowly.
Because you were sick.
Well, yeah, that and I haven't eaten dinner. And there's a really pretty wrapped gift on my chair, and I'm like, I grab it, and there's people standing outside my office, and I'm like, are snakes gonna pop out of this when I open this? Because my director is admittedly like a
Prankster?
that, and he is what I would define as a crazy scientist. Like, he is a free thinker, wildly off the walls, and he's thinking stuff that I don't have the imagination and thought process to get to. And sometimes he's in a conversation, and you have to be like, "Well, you just took 9 different avenues, and I didn't have no idea how you got there, but that was brilliant and really well said." But yes, also a prankster.
The way you describe that, though, about it going 9 different ways, almost sounds like a woman brain.
No, I mean, maybe. I don't
Okay.
know. I can't describe to you what a woman brain is like, if I'm being honest. I don't
Okay.
understand it. Justin, you understand it?
No.
Okay. But he's a brilliant, brilliant man. Well beyond my comprehension.
Does he watch the podcast?
I don't know.
Are you
He's just kissing
fluffing him
some
for
ass.
that? All
No,
right, go ahead.
no.
Yeah. Let me just say for the record, my boss is great too, in case he sees this.
So I open it, and inside of it is a really gorgeous boxed set of The Hobbit. Or
Okay.
Just like the original, like The Hobbit. That's
Had you two discussed this, like that author, or
he's discussed what this book's meant to him.
Okay.
This will be his last year with our department, so he's moving on. Inside of it, it said there was a sticky note to the front of it, and I mean, this is gorgeous. This whole thing is illustrated. It is one. It is not a, the difference between like a book and like oh crap, this book is really something cool.
nice? Yeah.
And so on the front of it was a sticky note that said open, because I'm sure a lot of people saw a book and were like, oh, cool, a book.
Set
Yeah.
on their shelf.
And inside of it is a handwritten note about the ideologies and things that this meant to him as a teen, and how he's carried this exact same book with him for years, and how it's led him to pretty much found our department and push it for 20 years and make it to what it is now, and how he'd like us all to read it and take the things. And also inside it was a really nice gift card to a nice steakhouse.
Nice.
And I'm like,
Can you say what steakhouse?
yeah, it's Ruth's Chris.
Okay.
But I'm like, what the hell? I've never gotten anything like that before. That was really
Yeah.
cool.
Good gift.
Like that was and so I had to, the way I talk to people for the most part is I have to have the inner dialogue before I go talk to them. So I worked on it a little bit and was like, thank you. I've never received such a genuine gift that I didn't expect. And it really felt like you gave a part of who you are to me. And I think that's really special. And I think that's really cool. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And the dude is sitting there holding back tears. And I'm like,
Did you cry together?
do you know my name?
Yeah.
Or do you know who I am? Because like I'm the newest guy still. It's been a while, but I'm still the newest guy. And it was like, damn,
It's awesome.
that was really cool.
Did he know your name?
No, that's not the important part. He got the spelling right on the package.
Perfect.
As you left, he was like, "Thanks, buddy." Yeah. Tap on the shoulder.
But no, it was a really cool thing, and it was a really cool moment, and it felt super genuine. And I'm like, damn, that was a good gift.
Was
Yeah.
it addressed to Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't like, oh, that was for Steve. Sorry, dude.
Guy at that desk. I put it on the wrong chair.
You look over, the next office over, they've also got one. Like, oh, motherfucker.
So, sorry, do you have more on that?
No, I thought it was a really cool thing that happened to me, and I thought it was worth mentioning.
So, and that's awesome. I want to say, and like we kind of last week we talked about like the spirit of Christmas and the kind of the magic of it and all that. And in the last couple of weeks, I was talking to my wife a lot about like she asking me, "What do you want for Christmas?" And when you're an adult, there's a weird thing where it's like, if I want something, I go buy it. Like, there's, or like if I tell you, oh, hey, I want this, it's because I was going to go buy it. So when I open it, it's like, oh, sweet, you gave me that thing I was going to go buy anyway.
Right.
So it's hard as an adult to get
so
something like you're saying, where like,
It felt.
Yeah.
It was like, shit, you gave me a piece of you and explained to it in your handwriting what this meant.
I think it's hard. It's, shopping for your wife is always hard, but I think it's, women shopping for their husband, same thing. But like it should be almost a goal now. Like after
My wife told me what she wants. Like just told me.
my wife puts stuff on her Amazon list, and I'm like, got it. And that's how we load our Amazon list, and we say, okay, all the stuff I want's on my list. Check it out. And
I have a bad habit of ordering something. Like the one thing that I ordered that I'm like, oh, this was my idea. This is kind of cool. She'll like it, I think. I always order it at a late date that will not come in on time.
time?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's happening again, because then I read it. It came in the email afterwards. In all fairness, it said anything ordered after 12 or 12, and I'm like, I ordered it on like 12:14. That's early enough.
Yeah, like just roll back time.
That's early enough, and it's not even special. I'm not great at this whole thing. But the like this guy built the entire department. The whole thing lives because he built it for 15 years, fighting against everybody to keep it going. And it says in the thing, he's like, "You have a great ability to keep this whole thing going," and this is what this meant to me throughout this fight. And I'm like,
Nice.
Now, Ainsley just finished reading The Hobbit.
did she?
Yeah.
I thought, I was like, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to give it to Abby. And you know, maybe I have not read it. And
You've never read The Hobbit?
I believe I had it as a kid.
I say that like, oh man, I can't believe I've never read The Hobbit either.
Okay. Fuck you.
I need to ask. Is that associated? I think I'm right on this, but that has to do with Lord of the Rings,
Lord of the
right?
Rings.
Okay, it's like the prequel kind of, or
It was
I
the
don't know,
first. It was the first Tolkien.
I haven't
story.
read
okay,
it.
Yes, it is the prequel. It is a story of Bilbo Baggins
got it. Okay,
and how he came about the ring and his struggle with it and all that stuff.
the One Ring.
The One Ring.
Yeah,
Like that.
love it.
I love the Lord of the Rings. I never read the book. I'm gonna be like, I never read a book cover to cover outside of a school assignment.
I read Goosebumps.
Outside of a school assignment,
shit was dope.
until I was 34 years old.
I read Gone with the Wind
On my
front
own
to back,
accord.
and that was when I was in like 9th grade. And then after that, I was like, there, I read a book, and then I haven't read.
Was it
much.
for school?
No. I think I did it. It was like in 9th grade, and at that point, like I think there was a class, like for a half an hour every day was reading time, and we like read in the class, and we had to get a book, and I was like, oh, I'll just get the weirdest book, and I got Gone with the Wind, and I ended up loving it. And there's a sequel to Gone with the Wind that I read too. Scarlet Goes to Ireland. Don't want to spoil it for anybody. But yeah, good stuff. But that's
Is it Gone with the Sea?
no, it's called Scarlet, I think. Anyhow, but that, and then oh god, the one that Joe Rogan always talks about, Empire of the Summer Moon, about the Comanches in Texas. I have tried to read that, and I'm very interested in it. Like if I could find like a YouTube version of it where I could
there's a
watch
movie
it.
now.
What's that?
There's a movie now.
No, so that's Killers of the Flower Moon, which is about the Osage Indians in Pawhuska.
So
Empire of the
close.
Summer Moon's by S.C. Gwynn, and it's about like apparently when you read it, that's one of those where you're like, holy shit! Like the barbarian or the Indians, they did some barbarian type shit, like, and it wakes you up to it. I'm so interested in it, and I've hit a point where I think my brain needs. Well, I need to be watching TV and scrolling my phone and doing multiple things at once. I'll try to
It's a problem.
I'll try to turn everything off and be like, I'm just going to read this paperback book. And I can't, I'm like, what else can I do? I want to turn a TV on in the background or something. And I think my brain is too wired for technology these days.
Have you tried turning on white noise?
No, I need to.
Because that was how I studied for my journeyman test. Is I went in the bathroom, turned on the vent fan, and that was enough white noise for me to stay focused on
Gotcha.
that for 4 hours straight.
I think I still haven't tried books on tape, but I know a lot of people that do that. And
I've
I
done that a
think
couple times.
I might need to be a books on tape kind of guy. 'Cause
You take drives too.
Well, and I walk 10,000 steps a day. So when
Yeah.
I'm walking, if I listen, that would be the best way to do it.
That's been my favorite. So there's one of my favorite books I've read is called Delivering Happiness.
Okay.
It was by Tony Hsieh. He's the guy who helped launch. He really funded and backed a lot of Zappos.com, which is now bought by Amazon for $3.2 billion. But
We should do that.
what?
Something cool that gets bought for 3.
Yeah, I-
billion.
Dude, let's make
I
some
agree.
millions of dollars.
It's on my
I'll take
list of things to do
millions.
this
I like
week.
it, Kyle. Let's do it.
If
That's the idea.
Yeah.
if I sell
make
stuff for
money.
millions, you guys are partners. But
Cool.
I read the book. It's on tape. I'm gonna delete that. And if it comes up, just delete. Never happened. And then he also put it on Audible, and it's Tony Hsieh narrating his own book. It was really cool to hear. And so if Audible, it's an Amazon thing, I think, or just Audible in general, it's really good.
My wife has an Audible account, so I'm pretty sure I could like also be logged in. I just haven't put the effort into doing it, but
It's
I mean, you can just go on your phone and buy the books, or there's a lot of them are free. But
gotcha.
yeah.
my favorite podcaster is also a novelist. So a couple times when I do my hot springs trips in the winter, I'll just buy one of his novels. and
Who is that?
his name's Chris Harris.
Okay, Chris Harris. I don't know.
Does he write?
So his last one was actually called Tulsa.
Huh.
It's about a post-apocalyptic person living in Tulsa.
Okay.
Of all places.
Yeah, I don't know. I have not listened to that one yet. It's kind of new, not new enough, but he's a sports guy. He was ESPN's like original fantasy person and quit there and hated the man and decided to start his own podcast 10 years ago. Huge fan.
Fighting the man. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is late, y'all.
I'm out of stuff. I wish I had more. I could keep talking about conspiracy theories, but I don't think Kyle wants to do that.
I think we need to save that. Maybe do some research on theories.
I've already been researching.
I misquoted that Marble Run thing. It wasn't 7 million subs. It's 1.54 million.
You
Still
lied,
a lot of
you
freaking-
lied to us.
It's a lot of freaking
Yeah.
subs to watch marbles roll down a track.
That's what there's a thing where like I'll see a channel and I'm just like, who is watching this? But like everybody's got different taste and there's certain things that have enormous followings and I'll check it out because it's like, oh wow, 3 million followers, let me see. And quickly I'm like, this isn't for me. But you know what? Because it's not for me, it clearly is for somebody. So good on whatever you're doing. If you got subscribers, good for you. That's how I feel about that.
So thanks for tuning in.
Kyle's
another
holding
week.
his mouth in a way where it looks like he's just about to say something. He's almost. Yeah, you got it?
Penis.
Okay.
The best thing you do is stay till the end. That helps the algorithm. Maybe you could do one of the things that these guys are suggesting.
What are we suggesting? Oh, like and subscribe. Tell all your friends.
Penis.
Until next time.
Do a penis.
See ya.